folks, here we go with our next speaker. Chris coaches over in our athletic department. Coaches men's lacrosse. This is his
first year here.
He's come from
Sacred Heart University last year, the Virginia Military Institute a couple years prior to that, and I graduated and also coached at my alma mater, Wesley College.
Well, we asked Coach Chris to come in because he does a lot with recruiting. Lacrosse is a huge sport. He's very knowledgeable. We thought it would be a great thing for him to share some of his wisdom. So as you have your seniors getting ready for the big step to college, you're going to give some tips here that you can help pass on to them.
Thank you. Just wanted to take the opportunity to thank Coach Davenport for providing me the chance to talk with you guys today. Presentation is entitled 7 Tips to Get Your Athletes Recruited. Part of this is directed towards the high school coach, and part of this is directed toward the high school coach and how they can educate their student athletes. Just to get right into it, tip number 1, I got a little comical with some of the pictures, so hopefully you can appreciate that. It's one of our other assistants in the office holding his report card. Academics. Seems kind of trivial. Yeah, we know you need grades to get into college. But what you want to do as high school coaches is you have to preach the importance of academics. Some students, some young men, some young women, they don't understand the importance of it. They think that ability will trump athletics, where that's not the case. If you get the best academics possible, the best GPA you can, the best SAT or ACT scores, that's going to open up more options for you. I can't tell you how many times I come across young men that I'm recruiting. I see their transcript. Coach, I got a 3.5 GPA. Well, you have a 3.5 GPA because you have an A+ in PE, health, and ceramics. So really, you only have about a 2.7. So let's be realistic. Let's get our grades up in the most important core classes: math, English, social studies, biology, chemistry, all the sciences. That's what's going to open up those doors for you to get admitted to college. Now, secondly, with academics, you as high school coaches can ask guidance counselors, you can call admissions counselors to find out what the admission standards are for certain schools. You want to come here to Washington College, well, you should know what the admission standards are. If you don't know, and you're applying with the 2.0 and the 880 on the SATs, you're probably going to be SOL. It's going to be a tough road for you. So a lot of that stuff, admission standards, published online. You can go online, you can find it. You can also should be able to call, as I said, admissions counselors. They'll be able to tell you, and guidance counselors in your high schools should be able to tell you. Second tip. Well, that's up there. I'll leave that up there for a minute. I also said be realistic. If you got a 2.0 GPA, you want to row for Harvard, it's probably not going to happen. Be realistic as to where your grades fit into what rowing programs you're interested in. Number 2 is ability. Where does your ability lie? You as high school coaches should be able to tell your student athletes where they fit. If they want to row for the national champs, but they get winded walking up a flight of stairs, that's probably not going to work out for them. You should be able to reinforce with the ability. You can also ask the college coach's opinion. Hey, you've seen my program row. I have this young man or young woman. Do you think that they have the ability to row at your level? Yes or no? And if the coach is worth their paycheck, they should be honest with you, and they should say, yes, they can row for us, or not so much. Maybe you should look at some other programs. The other thing is, for the student athlete, they have to realize that they need to be realistic and honest with themselves. Are they willing to put in the work, the sacrifice to be the elite level athlete, or they want the more well-rounded experience? They want to have fun. Like Coach Davenport said, they really like the sunrise or the sunset. They want to be in the boat, they want to enjoy it, but they're not really concerned about winning and losing. So they have to kind of come to grips with their ability and how honest they are with themselves. Next one, be proactive. I had a little fun with this one. So be proactive. Simply, the college coach and recruit relationship. You want to preach to your student athletes that it's never too early to develop that relationship. I have freshmen in high school that email me. I have sophomores in high school, juniors, seniors. The sooner that they're getting on my radar as a college coach, the sooner I know who they are and I can start to track them. Building that relationship also comes from you as the high school coach. The high school coach can reach out to the college coach. You can make a phone call. I have this young man or young woman that's interested in your school. Here's their 2K time. Here's where they stand in my boat. Just want to know, get your thoughts and opinions on what your recruiting class looks like. Start that relationship with the college coaches. Always follow through. You make a phone call to a coach, you don't hear from them in a couple days, send an email to follow up, vice versa. You send an email, follow up with a phone call. Next thing is preach exposure to your student athletes. We have lacrosse tournaments all over the country where there's 75 fields and 125 teams, and I sit there pulling my hair out trying to see everybody I possibly can. Go to the big regattas, go to camps, go to events that you can get to where your student athletes are going to be seen by more than just one coach, so they get seen by a bunch of coaches. Why is that? Because coaches talk. Coaches talk to each other. Hey, I was at this event the other day. I saw this young man, young woman, think he'd be a great fit for your program. They can kind of relate. They might reach out to you as the high school coach. I heard from Coach so-and-so about Sally Smith. Can you tell me a little bit more about her? Again, with the have your athletes be proactive. A lot of times it's great to hear from the high school coach, but we as coaches want to hear from the student athlete. I don't want to hear from parents a whole lot. I do a little bit, not a whole lot. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to hear from the high school coach a little, not a whole lot. I'm really recruiting the student athlete. I'm not necessarily recruiting the parent, the mom, the dad, the grandfather, or the high school coach. Send emails, make phone calls. With the emails, make them personal. Please make the emails personal. We don't want to receive the email that says, Coach, comma, I'm really interested in your school. I think I'd be a great fit, and I really want to pursue rowing at your school. Thanks, Joe Jones. How many other coaches did you send that to? And it's also, you have to teach them as well. You can preach the blind carbon copy button. Can't tell you how many emails I've gotten where I'll go, wow, he's really interested in every school in the country. Make it a little personal. You know, dear Coach Miller, I'm really interested in Washington College and your lacrosse program. Here is why. Here's my statistics. Here's why I'm interested. Here's when I would like to come and visit. Make things personal. Next, college visits. Preach the college visits. I talk to admissions all the time. I don't understand, I don't really get the concept of why you would apply to a college, wait to see if you got admitted, then once you get admitted, then come and visit. Because now I wasted all that time, and I got in, I got admitted, I come and visit the school, and now I don't like it. Well, now I got to go to my other options. Get out, visit the schools early. Find out what you like. Are you more comfortable in an urban setting or a rural setting? Do you want a Catholic school? You want a non-religious school? Do you want a big school? You want a small school? You might say, I want a school that's 50,000 people, and you show up on the campus of University of Wisconsin, and you're scared to death. And you're like, all right, now I know I really want the small school atmosphere. You know, don't limit yourself to what you think you want, because what you think you want, as I just said, you might think you want the big school, you show up on campus on the big school, and you're like, no, this is not for me, not at all. The other one is have your student athletes make a list of must-haves. If I am a student and I want a sushi bar on campus, that's a must-have. No two ways about it, that's what I want. And I go, I gotta find some schools that got a sushi bar on campus. I don't know. You gotta have a list of must-haves. The other thing is contact the coach prior to the visit. Can't tell you how many times we're in a staff meeting, we're getting ready to plan practice, and we get a knock on the door from an admissions tour guide. You know, Jason Smith would like to talk to you. Well, I don't know who Jason Smith is. I'm very caught off guard right now. I don't have any, my mind is elsewhere. I can't give him the best of myself because I didn't know he was coming. Send the email, let him know that you're gonna be on campus for a visit, whether you schedule it through admissions or the coach. The other thing is, when you visit a campus, take pride in your appearance. Gotta have the student athletes take pride in their appearance. I despise when a student athlete shows up in sweatpants or ripped jeans and look like they just rolled out of bed for the day. You don't need to be full suit like myself, but you know, business casual, something respectable to meet with a coach. Other things, first impressions. I go to shake a young man's hand and I get the dead fish handshake. That's on automatic. I'm taking a step back and we're moving on. And the last thing is be prepared. Have your students be prepared to ask questions when they come to visit. I give campus tours to recruits all the time. Get done after about an hour tour. We sit down with them. All right, what questions do you have? What didn't I answer for you? What can I get? What can we follow up on? I don't know, Coach. I don't have anything. Then it's just dead air and it's over. And granted, you might be overwhelmed at the time, but you'll have conversations afterward with the recruit as to what you didn't answer and what you need to get answered. But at least, even if it's a one trivial question, just ask it like, what kind of gear do you guys have? What kind of apparel? What brand? That's fine. It's kind of a silly question. I don't care. I'll answer it. It just shows me that you're engaged. Next one, honesty. You got to be honest with the coaches. All coaches. Coaches talk. I've had plenty of experiences where a young man says, well, Coach Miller, I'm really interested in your school, but, Big Time University is offering me a scholarship. Little do they know that the assistant coach at Big Time University is one of my best friends since high school, so I call him up and say, are you and Mike Williams in discussions about a scholarship offer? I don't know who Mike Williams is. Well, all right, Mike, you lied to me, and that doesn't really bode well for you. The other thing, don't string coaches along. Coaches need to build their recruiting classes to the best of their ability. So if you've built that college coach and recruit relationship, and they are super excited about you, you're super excited about them, but you don't really want to attend their university, just let them know. Be honest. You're not going to break our hearts. We can move on. We can get over it. We'll wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose. The other thing is honesty is be honest with yourself. As you want to preach to your student athletes that they need to be honest with themselves. If for some reason something tragic were to happen, they blew out their knee, they ripped up their shoulder, they're no longer able to row, would they still enjoy attending that university or college? And a lot of times that's not taken into account when college choices are looked upon. Next one is parents. You want the parents to be involved, but not necessarily an influence. When I was coaching at the Virginia Military Institute, it's a different kind of place because it has that military factor to it. I had plenty of young men that came to me, I really want to go to VMI because my dad went here, or my grandfather went here, or my uncle was in the Navy, so I really want to be here at VMI. But then they get there and they go, you know what, that's not what I wanted. That's what my parents wanted. So you want your parents to be involved. You, as high school coaches, you can help the parents be involved in the process, but not be an influence. They shouldn't direct the student, because if they're directing the student in the direction they want them to go, the student isn't going to be as happy with that experience. One of the last ones is continuous communication. As high school coaches, as I said, we always want high school coaches to reach out to us as college coaches. Why do we want to do that? Because if I'm looking at, Mike Williams or Sally Smith for my rowing program, I want to know, what's their work ethic like? What's their drive? Do they want to be the best that they can be? Are they a terrible person? Are they going to come here and they're just going to ruin things? They're going to corrupt my program because they're not a good, genuine individual. These are things that I want to know from you guys as high school coaches going into it. You want to also, as high school coaches, be in constant communication with the athlete. If I call you as a high school coach saying, I had an opportunity to see Mike Williams row the other day. I really like him. Where else is he looking to go to school? What are his academics like? And you're going, I don't know. That's not good for me. You're not giving me information. I may be less likely to call you again, less likely to look at your program. One of the things that also I think goes along with that and kind of goes back to the honesty thing, you as high school coaches, if you give a great recommendation to a college coach and say, Sally Smith is a fantastic rower, fantastic person, she's going to be great for your program, and Sally comes on campus and she starts to be a part of our program, and she's not a very good rower, she's not a good student, she's getting in trouble, in the social scene of school or outside of class, then that's going to hurt your reputation as a high school coach. I'm going to be less likely to look at your program and student athletes from your program because you sold me really hard on this this individual and they're not living up to your recommendation. And then lastly, I think, again, with the high school coach and parent communication, be involved with the parents. I know parents can be overbearing sometimes, but you want to have that communication with the parents because the parents might have questions that you guys can answer that because you've talked to me as the college coach, and it just builds that kind of triangle relationship between the athlete, parents, high school coach, and then you throw the college coach right in the middle of that triangle. So I went a little faster than I thought I would, so I got 3 minutes. Anybody have any questions? I didn't do a very good job.
This is something that a lot of times athletes, if I may, athletes look at high school coaches as co-equals. And you can come in and you can play a good role. We have, as a meeting, we have a lot of recruits and those high school coaches play a good part of it.
We found that at our school, a lot of our parents go to recruiting services. What's your take on, I mean, I know you're a lacrosse coach,
Mhm.
you might recruit different in bigger schools, but what's your take on when a recruiting service contacts you versus a student?
When a recruiting service contacts me, it's typically I send out an email to the student, letting them know I got the contact from the service, but I would rather hear from them as opposed to kind of a form email from the service. And there's plenty with lacrosse in general, recruiting services that are out there, and we tell a lot of any recruiting seminars that I give that I almost personally think that it's a waste of money for a recruiting service. Because I think with technology these days, especially for the sport of lacrosse, you can take a video clip, you can cut it up in iMovie, you can put it onto YouTube, you can email me that link. I have your highlight tape like that, and you sent me an email letting me know that you're interested. So I tend to tell athletes, student athletes, to stray away from the recruiting services. That's just my opinion because I think you can do it on like a lot cheaper scale and save yourself the money.
Parents are going to set a budget limit on the kids, so they're going to have something to do.
Absolutely. Maybe influence wasn't necessarily the best choice of words, but I guess my thought process was, as I had those experiences of the parent saying, here's where you have to go to school because I went here, your grandfather went here, and if the student athlete goes, this isn't for me, this isn't what I'm looking for, then that becomes the problem and why the student would either not excel at the school and or leave school. In the back, sir. In regards to perhaps admission standards, so if I'm recruiting a student athlete, what preference does it? I mean, I think our administration wants us to be, as a lacrosse program, as any sports here on campus at Washington College, they want us to be the best. They're not going to sacrifice academics for athletics. They want to work together. I think typically a lot of times at the Division III level, they'll give you kind of some confines as to here's the range of academic students that we can admit to you, so you have to go out and find them, as opposed to it's not a free-for-all. You can just get in whoever you want. He's got a pulse and he thought about taking the SATs, so we'll let him in for you. Go ahead, yeah. Thank you very much.